Hey, first I'd like to ask forgiveness for my sloppy appearance. I'm doing a last minute run to the store, but something really important has been coming up that I really feel is important to address, and it's people letting things happen because they're not in touch with themselves and in touch with their boundaries. People are so lost these days because they're worried about being what everybody else wants them to be, and being accepted and being liked. I just want people to like me. I'm not going to get through life if people don't like me. I got to, let's drop that. We'll get to that another time, but we're going to work on that too. But one thing I'd like to really pinpoint right now is boundaries and ignoring your gut instinct and letting things happen that ought not to be allowed to happen to you. People and women especially are so bad about this. We're so bad about this. And then we're angry at the end of it, because we let shit happen when we knew it didn't smell right to start with. And I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it for me, and I'm over it for you. And I think you should be too. I think it's time that we just say no to shit that doesn't feel good. We are constantly having to do shit we don't want to do, constantly having to, self-sacrifice, for the sake of somebody else, or for the sake of keeping the peace, or for the sake of, or in the hopes of attaining something we need for our survival, or attaining something that will advance our children in some way or another and work in their favor. There's just so much sacrifice. Jesus Christ, let's when are we gonna stop doing that? When are you gonna stop torturing yourself, in the hopes that it's gonna get you half a step ahead, further than you were a second ago? Let's just drop it. Just drop it. If it's not in alignment, fucking drop it. If something's not right about him, drop it. If something's not right about her, drop it. If something's not right about the job, drop it. If you can stand to, say no to something that just doesn't feel good, and it's going against your instincts and going against your intuition, damn. If a woman isn't going to listen to her intuition, which is what's been happening for the past several thousand years, hence the situation we're in. But if a woman is going to quit listening to her own instincts and her own nature and her own programming and her own intuition and natural power, then, well, we may as well just not even live. I hate to be a bitch about it and sound that way, but we may as well not even live, because that's no life worth living if all we're going to do is say, well, this isn't right. Okay, I guess I'll do it. No. Your mental health, or what's left of it, is gonna be thrown in your face. The tattered shreds of your mental health, of what you laughingly refer to as your mental health, is gonna be thrown in your face or at your feet. And you're gonna be left with the decision to either drive your car off a bridge or walk away from the situation, because that's how bad you're going to be feeling. Because I've been there a million times. That's why I'm saying this. That's why I think it's okay to say it, because we've all been in this situation, especially when we do it for men, and especially when we bite our tongue for a manager, or some situation where we think we're not going to survive if we don't lay down and take it like a bitch. And that has to stop. Your intuition and your instinct, and paying attention to your gut feelings is going to be all you need to get you through life, because your intuition is coming from a deeper source beyond you, if I do say so myself, and that is guiding you whether you realize it or not. And there's going to come a day when you have to just say, okay, this doesn't feel right, this is not good for me, I've got to leave this behind. I don't care what it is. If it's not right for you, if you've got to sacrifice yourself in so many ways and to such a degree that you're that damned unhappy with what's going on for the sake of what? The quote unquote guarantee of security. You're the only one guaranteeing it to yourself. Because that's going to be up to you where you place yourself. For the most part, it's up to you. So the only reason you're suffering, I mean, I hate to do this to you, but the main reason you're suffering is because you've let this shit happen. And when you come to that, how many times do you have to come to the realization that something happened because you fucking let it slide? You let it slide. You let it slide. Oh God, I don't know why I let this happen. I fucking knew. Yeah, you knew. Of course you knew. That's my point. I ignored the red flags. Well, girl, I'm sorry, you just, but I've tortured myself with that too for the same damn reasons. Oh, if I do this, this might make my life better. Or if I do this, maybe I'll be happy because at least I'll have, I don't like blah, 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 blah about it, but at least I'll have 1 or 2 or 3, small benefits and that'll get me by. Maybe, somehow I'll practice like mind over matter, or I'll rise above somehow mentally and, I'll get through it somehow, but it'll be worth it just for this. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because doesn't look like it, I've had to catch myself. I've had to have sit down, talks with myself and have little chats with myself a million times about, okay, what am I doing? What am I even doing? What am I doing? What is this? Do I want this? Why am I doing this? What am I getting out of this? What am I getting out of this? And if you're miserable and or your child is miserable with whatever decision you've made, it's time to just hit the reset button. And you do that however you need to do it. Because your mental health, we're not here for long, Do what you're going to do. Your life is going to go by faster than you think. And there's no damn use in being that miserable, just for whatever it is you think you're getting out of it. It doesn't matter. This is mainly directed towards women because we're so damn bad about the self-sacrifice stuff and the martyrdom shit. Well, if I sacrifice this, that, and the other about myself, I'll be secured in some other way, or my child will be secured in some other way, and it'll be worth it. I'll hate being alive, but it'll be worth it in the long run. No, wrong. You can't be afraid. You have to ask yourself what risks are worth that. What's worth it? Sorry, I don't have a thing to put my phone on. I gotta hold it. I mean, you have to really think to yourself, okay, how miserable am I willing to be to, oh shit, this is too tight. I can't back in there. How miserable are you willing to be, to accomplish something? Like how bad can you stand it? I mean, what are you really working for? What are you really working towards? Is it worth it? And especially if your kid's unhappy, if they're in the situation too, is it worth it? That kid gets one childhood and only lasts so many years. Are you really going to take that from them? Because it was taken from you in so many ways or whatever. Everybody's got something. I mean, women especially have got to learn when to say no. Just say no. Just say no. I know, and your manager and stuff, especially, fuck me, especially when it's a man, and you've been trained, you've had the good home training to know you can't say no to a man. And they act like they don't know that. They act like they're not aware of that. I think they do know, because they use it all the time. Well, I'm going to need you to blah, blah, blah. And they deliver it in such a way that you feel cornered. It makes you feel cornered. And they know that we've been taught like as a group to not be allowed to say no to them or put our fucking foot down. Even in 2022, there's women I'm 35, there's women my age that will not fucking speak up. Because even in the 90s, depending on how the dynamic was at home, I suppose, but mine was a bit old-fashioned, and when Dad came home, I swear to God, you better do what you were supposed to do if it was the last thing you did. Like, but that's how I grew up. He ran the fucking show, ran it, and there was no, being an individual. I was anyway. I was individualistic, and I got my ass beat for it, and look at everybody I dated after that when I got older. So that doesn't help. But we'll get to the domestic violence part some other time. But because that's a whole other fucking dimension we got to get into. That's later. But this thing where we're afraid to pursue what we want, or we're afraid of change, or we're afraid of just putting our foot down, or we're afraid of saying no. Here's the thing. Women especially are afraid that if they say no to something, that's going to be that only opportunity they'll ever fucking get to have that thing that they are hoping to get from that, or being shown that they might have from that. They are under the impression, and everyone lets them believe it too. It's like no one's bothered to correct this. No one's bothered to correct this. I don't know why. But we are really under the impression that we're getting one chance to do what we're doing, and if we say no to it, it'll never come to us again. That's horse shit. As long as you're alive, there's still a chance to do something or have something. If you are alive, and at least able to experience things in your life and do things. There's people that are like in a coma and they're alive, so obviously I wouldn't be talking about them, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. You cannot be afraid of saying no to something, because you can't sit there and tell yourself, well, if I don't do this, I'll never get this opportunity again. No. Do you have any idea how many boyfriends I had? This applies to fucking each and every one of them. They weren't all bad. Some of them were fucking wild cards, but they weren't all the devil. Just, I'd say at least half of them. The other half were just a little bit dumb, but they knew I hated myself, so I only attracted the ones that were fucking bottom feeders. Period. Like attracts like. People can say what they want, but like attracts like. So, the boyfriends I had, I took like whoever came in my direction. I just took whoever gave me the time of day, no matter how bad they were. I just took them. I was like, oh sure, yeah, let's go out. Yeah, this is because I at the time I looked like a model. You wouldn't know it now, but like I'm a little bit heavier these days. But at that time, I looked like somebody on fucking Vogue. I really did. I figured at that time that my looks were all I had to offer, so I kept them fucking perfect. I kept how I looked perfect, and it paid off because I got attention. Like the heads turned every time I left the house at that time. But they knew that I hated myself, and men can smell that. And I've used this phrase before. Actually, I came up with it, to be honest with you, but I'm actually kind of proud of it because it's fucking true. But men can smell a self-hating woman the way a shark smells blood. They can smell it. And they're like flies to shit. They really are. And there's no way to measure how often they will jump on that. And it's obviously not every single one of them. Every single one's not programmed the same, but let's say about 80%, because every woman that you say this to who's ever had a man look at her is going to be able to have a story to tell about it, period. And I don't hate men anymore, but I'm also not going to ignore shit that just goes on and on and on forever, no matter what time period we're in or what country we're in. And I took whoever blew in my direction because I hated myself so much, and I was like, anybody that can fucking just give me the time of day, I'll take it. And I would always think to myself, no matter how bad they were, clenched fists or not, I would always think to myself, damn, I'm lucky. I'm a lucky little stupid bitch. I better fucking enjoy this shit while I've got it, because I'll never get this again. And I said that to myself. I said that swill to myself, no matter who plopped into my lap, no matter who it was, no matter how bad they were. No matter how bad they were. I told myself that my stupid ass better be fucking grateful that I would have trash from the street blow into my lap. because I thought I wasn't going to get any better. You know, a lot of people have the nerve to say, if I could just go back to my younger self, I would just hug myself. I would go back to my younger self and slap myself and say, what's wrong with you? Well, I might hug her, I might not, but at first I'd slap her and say, get with the program and stop doing this. But I did that because, you know, the first man I had experiences with, well, you had some issues he was not dealing with, and took it out on me, and that taught me that, you know, that's how the dynamic was supposed to be, and it just continued. And no one goddamn corrected it. Period. And that applies to every son of a bitch walking this planet, not just little old me. I'm not special. I'm not different from any of the rest of you. We're all holding on to something that somebody fucking taught us, you know, in the 80s that wasn't kosher, and it's stuck, and we're still dealing with it now. So, I mean, you know, there's always going to be somebody, you know, especially somebody older that's going to say, well, you know, please ignore that. Please ignore that. Because they're coming from a time where you couldn't address any of that. And now the mental health issues are getting so bad that it's being waved in our faces. And now we're having to stop and deal with it come hell or glory. So it's like, we're having to address it no matter what, because the shit that our grandparents did, all these 70-year-olds that, you know, overlooked this and overlooked that and said, well, you know, you need to, blah, blah, blah. That's not cutting it anymore, because people were abused, had the shit beaten out of them, were ignored, were neglected, or whatever, you know, or given drugs as children, or whatever the story is, and it just never fucking gets rectified. And then you've got all these, so now you've got all these adults, you've got a whole fucking generation walking around of people, men or women, who, like, you know, don't know how to put their fucking foot down and say no to something, because they were taught in the beginning that it's okay for them to be abused and be treated wrong. It's not okay. So when you're in a situation, I mean, this applies to dudes too, but I mean, I'm talking to women, you know, because I understand their point of view in life, obviously, but when you're in a situation that doesn't feel right, or reminds you of something that doesn't feel good, you know, or reminds you of a past pain, or something traumatic or something like that, you know, say no. Just say no. That's not going to be the last time you get that chance to do that. That's not going to be the last time. Unless you die tomorrow. If you do, you know, then so be it. That's part of life. You'd be released from all this anyway. And after that, it's going to depend on your beliefs as to what you want to tell yourself. But other than that, you know, if you've got some time, let's assume you do, you know, for the sake of it, walk away from that shit. You don't have to do that. He can be as great as you think he is. And if something big about the situation doesn't sit right with you, or doesn't feel good, or isn't going to get resolved, or it's something you can't overlook, or you can't force yourself to overlook anymore, you know, or isn't going to work in the long run for whatever reason, let it go. You just walk away. There's always going to be other opportunities. You know, women are so damn afraid. Oh, well, if I don't take this while it's there, I mean, no. I'm tired of that. I got tired of telling myself that, and you know, I'm tired of thinking, well, this would be my only chance. It's not my only chance. It's not. I can't necessarily trace back where that thought process comes from in my childhood or whatever. That part I haven't figured out yet. I don't know where that started. I can't pinpoint that, but I know it's a pattern I have. I just don't know who gave it to me. But all that kind of shit has to be taught by somebody else. Children have to be taught how to think. They have to be taught. Their brains are total clean slates when they start. So everything they say, everything you hear them say when they're 15, somebody planted that. Or you let them watch too much TV. And then still somebody planted it. Somebody on the fucking television said it, and it stuck, and no one corrected it. I'm just, you know, there's always going to be somebody that wants to argue with me and tell me I'm wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah. Fine, but, you know, instead of arguing with me, you know, worry about what you're doing. I don't worry about it. I really don't worry about it. I really don't. And then people will try to say, well, I'm just trying to have good intentions with you. And I'm just trying to tell you, bye. I'm talking to the people that understand what the fuck I'm saying. And that's it. That's it. That's it. If you get me and you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, great. I'm still going to do what I want. I'm like, not trying to be a bitch. It's like, it's not going to change my life. I'm not, but you have got to, if you want your life to mean anything, you have got to come to terms with shit, and you've got to sit down, have a chat with yourself and say, okay, damn it, what do I want from this life? What do I want from this life? And ask yourself what your values are. Ask yourself what would make you feel fulfilled. What kind of job or what kind of line of work or what could you be doing or contributing your time and your energy to that would make you feel satisfied and like you've really done a good thing and like you've had an honest day's work? What would that be? And I would say go with that. And if you can't figure that out, message me and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it and we'll just figure something out. It's not a big deal. We'll figure it out. Everybody's got something. If you weren't meant to be here or didn't have a purpose or blah, 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 whatever the fuck, you wouldn't be here. There'd be no use in creating a whole human being with a soul and a mind and a heart and a spirit and whatever else and, digestive juices and everything else. There'd be no point in creating all of that for it to not have a purpose. It makes no sense. Because if that applies, because if you're telling yourself that applies to you, how many of the rest of us does it apply to? What's the use in that? And if you want to go that way, go that way. And then when you get tired of it, maybe you'll come to me for help. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm tired of seeing people just do the self-sacrifice and shit. Oh, well, no, there's got to be better. There has to be better. There just has to be. There are ways that you can get what you want. I tell each client this too, because it's possible for each and every one of you. It's possible. Why wouldn't it be? You're still alive. You're still doing stuff. You have a reason to live. Have your fucking boundaries. If something doesn't sit right with you, or if it's against your intuition, or if you see all the red flags and you're ignoring it, don't do that. Because you catch yourself in the moment and you know what's happening. Stop. Stop letting it happen. That's all I wanted to say. Just boundaries. Know what they are. Get in touch with yourself and just be like, no, this doesn't feel good. And you can build self-respect. You can build self-trust because you're solid with yourself and honest with yourself. That's worth it. That's worth it. If you're gonna, just destroy yourself by just doing what somebody else wants all the time, or just doing something that doesn't feel good to you, you're gonna get to a point where you just want to jump off a cliff. And some people do. And I have wanted to do that and almost done it many, many times, and try to do other things along those lines many times. And I'm telling you, it's not a road you want to go down. Some of us have. You don't want to do that. If you have done stuff like that in the past where you were thinking about checking out, but something happened and you didn't, and you're here watching this video, I'm proud of you. You got through it. You're on the other side of that. You don't have to go back to that. There's no reason. You shouldn't have to go back to that. You shouldn't have to live that way. Fuck that. So there's other things, and there's other shit that you could be doing. If you're still alive, there's other shit you could be doing. I was just feeling passionate about that today. But yeah, know your boundaries. Just know them. If you don't, message me. I'll make time to talk to you and just figure some shit out. It's no big deal. I got time. We'll figure it out. But, it's worth it. If it's not right, say fucking no. You're not sure about that person? Say no. And you don't, and women also are bad about thinking that their real reason for not wanting to do something either isn't going to be good enough, not going to be acceptable, going to be laughed at, not going to be taken seriously, because we're not taken seriously. You know, we're just not taken seriously in fucking 2022. Our managers are still, the men managers anyway, will just laugh at us and, you know, say, you'll be okay, you know. And I'm like, you just put your arm around my waist and I don't fucking know you. Whatever, man. Just fuck you. But with all that, you know, no. No. So, but the self-respect, and if you're struggling with self-love, we can get to that too, but, you know, the self-respect part, I would say start with that, and that would be the boundaries. Because you're only going to be able to last so long just dropping who you are to do what somebody else wants from you. You're only going to be able to pull it off for so long. And then you're going to start really self-destructing because you can't take anymore. And you'd rather just die, figuratively or literally, or drink it or drink it down, you know, to silence it, or shoot up to silence it, or whatever it is you want to do to numb that shit. So there's just no point. Especially if you have children. Are you kidding me? You're gonna let them see you do that? That's the example you want to set? Because they see that shit. Just because they don't say it doesn't mean they don't see it. I see a lot of shit I don't say anything about. You know, I mean, we all do, but children are watching you. They have one childhood. One. Just do your best, you know? Let their childhood, if yours sucked, and you know what went wrong, and you know what not to do, give the gift to your child who is innocent of having better than what you had. And all your life long, you can know that when you look back, you did your best and you gave that kid the best you could, and they had better than you did, and they lived better than you did, and they grew up better than you did, and they didn't get abused, and they didn't get neglected, and whatever else. And you did that, even though you knew that what you came from was worse. And you can still always fall back on that and tell yourself, well, at least I did that right, if nothing else. Is that not worth it? So, boundaries. I could go on about boundaries all fucking night, because that's such a huge topic. People don't realize that. It's such a huge topic. There was a time when I had my heart set on being a wedding consultant, which is ironic. But, you know, when I was younger, I that was what I wanted. I was like 19 or 20. And I got a job at a really good little shop that was a great start for me, actually. And I did well. I did really well. You know, for not knowing what I was doing, I did really well. And the managers were okay. It was just a couple from New York that, like, you know, ran a little dress shop, and you could go in and order stuff or whatever, and they had tuxedos and shoes and shit like that. And, of course, wedding dresses. So I did really well there. I had people coming from surrounding towns looking for me, which was amazing, because I was like 19 or 20 and I didn't know shit about anything, and for some reason I was really successful there. That was probably the only place where it was that good, but anyway, that job meant a lot to me because I was like building what I wanted. And the man that ran it, he was friendly and everything, but he was getting a little too friendly. And at first, you know, like, complimented me a lot on my clothes and my appearance. And at first, I you know, didn't know any better. I said, okay, thanks. And after a while, he didn't, when he would compliment me, he didn't smile anymore. He'd quit smiling. And he had a real serious look on his face. And he was old. He was like already 70. But he was real tall and big and domineering. It wasn't like, you know, some little old shaking man, little skinny guy. This guy was big. And was still moving good and stuff like that. You know, like, you wouldn't have known he was actually 70. So But he got to where he quit smiling, and he had a real serious, like, I want to say menacing look on his face when he would tell me how nice I looked and how perfect my clothes were. And he would brag to customers about me and stuff like that. And that part was okay, but after he had quit smiling and was still complimenting me and still saying stuff about how I looked and everything, that started to creep me out a little bit. And boy, did I pay for it, because I got to work one day and he sat me down before everyone else got there. And he made sure his wife wasn't there, so she couldn't put a stop to it or anything. It was just me and him in the building for some odd reason that day, just me and him. And the place was open. I was scheduled to work that day, but he must have really planned this, because I got in there, no one else there, me and him. He sat me down in front of the shoe wall and gave me a list of things that I had done that had never fucking happened. Never fucking happened. And told me that I had to go. I was crying when I got in the door at home, saying that he had fired me. And Mom was like, what happened? And I said, I don't know. He told me all these things, but those things didn't happen. I don't understand why he did that. And she said, isn't this the guy that was flirting with you so much for so long? And I said, yeah, why? And she said, Miranda, his pride is hurt. And that was like almost 20 years ago, and I still remember that. I'm wishing she had taught me a little bit about men before all those things went wrong, because they wouldn't have gone wrong had I been a little bit more prepared, but we never had those conversations. So I had a lot of trial and error in my early adult years. So, but that is one of the, I mean, that's just so goddamn universal. That's so universal. I don't care who you talk to. I just don't care. I just don't care. Because I know about 80% of us go through it. The only women who don't have that problem are the ones that no one is looking at, which is probably like 3 women on the planet. But we all get it. We all get dealt that card at some point, especially from a fucking manager. Well, I'm going to send you out of here and retract your income, and you and your child have just got to figure it out. Best of luck. Bye. You know, I'm pissed off because you won't, do what I want, which has nothing to goddamn do with this job. To hell with you. Get out of my face, Oh, and P.S., you've got to come in for your final paychecks. I'm not going to send you. And he didn't. He wouldn't send me my final check in the mail. I had to drag my ass in there, and I was livid. And I had to drag my ass in there and pick up my final check from him because he wouldn't give it to me. So I had to go back in there. I think my mom drove me down there, or somebody, or dad, or somebody did. And I went in there and got it. And I went up to his desk, and his he was huge, his big fat ass. He was like 6 whatever, 300 something pounds. This guy was enormous. And I was like a little 120 pound 18-year-old, 19 whatever. I was little. Clocking in at 150 now, but at the time I was tiny. But so I went in there, and he was sitting at that desk, and boy, the look on his motherfucking face, I'll never forget. Guilt. He had the worst look on his face. And he couldn't even look me in the eye. Couldn't even look me in the motherfucking eye. He looked down at where the check was, grabbed it in the envelope, and just went like that. He was that fucking ashamed that he couldn't look me in the fucking face. I was 19. And this old man, who'd probably been in 2 wars, couldn't look me in the eye? Am I missing something? What happened? What happened? Because man, fuck this. Just fuck this. This is why you see so many women, especially, trying to do their own thing at home. I gotta do my own fucking online business. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do it, but I have to do it. I can't fucking trust anybody. And that's how it feels. That is really how it feels. And you see all these women, I'm an entrepreneur, because they're tired of that. They're tired of it. It's just, I can't do it. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it except tell what it is. And that's it. So, and I don't hate men. I don't. I got tired of that. I hated them through my 20s because they pulled that. They pulled it after my 20s too. Hitting 30 doesn't make a difference. My mother told me that once I turned 30, that would all come to a screeching halt. It didn't. It didn't. Because the way I looked when I was 25 and the way I looked when I was 30 was the same. So it didn't stop. So, I mean, I work from home now, and I don't have to fucking deal with anybody I don't want to deal with now. But, I mean, you know, up until then, that's just how it was sometimes. And you know, that was a sacrifice that I didn't sacrifice. He fired me. I didn't get a chance to quit. He fired me. But I probably should have, if I wanted to stay in that line of business, which honestly I did. It's just a lot of things went wrong, and I gave it up. I gave up. And maybe I shouldn't have, but when he started that serious look on his face with the compliments and like looking almost angry, but real serious and stern. Stern is the word I was looking for. Menacing's close, but stern is good enough. When he had that look on his face, when he was, continuing with telling me how good I looked, that I should have started. I knew that wasn't right. It didn't feel right. It didn't look right. It didn't smell right. And still I stayed because I had never been taught to put my fucking foot down and just say, no, I'm not doing this. No one teaches us that. No one teaches us that. And then everyone wonders why women are so fucking pissed off. It's because I can't say no to you, damn it. I can't say no to you. I'm not allowed. Because you'll be mad and get angry. And then I'm fucked because you'll take something from me that I need to survive, which is what happened. And it's all because I didn't do what you wanted. That was against my morals. So I either have to sacrifice my morals and who I am as a person, or sacrifice my values to survive, to make sure I can get this paycheck. Just fuck it. Tired. Well, just got tired of that. So it's like, it's not my problem now. I mean, fuck that, but I mean, I'm just telling you that's just how it is. So, I don't want any of you to think, men or women, but I'm especially talking to women. I don't want any of you to think that you have to, just put up with shit until it falls apart or whatever. You don't have to do that. As soon as it starts to not feel right, start building a backup plan, because most women, for fear of not surviving, because we live from a baseline of fear, period. We just do. There's no getting around it. Men will tell you, oh, life's an adventure. Life's such an adventure. And their experience is a lot different from ours. So they'll argue with you telling you that life is an adventure. It's not a goddamn motherfucking adventure. It never has been. It never has been. No. It's a mind game to see if I can get through, the next day and survive, and if I've got enough money to last me, just to get the bare necessities. That's what it is for women. Unless they just have a really good paycheck and just really, do their own thing but that's not typical. So for the rest of us, who lived a different reality, life's not a motherfucking adventure. Don't get out of here with that. Just get out. So, but I mean, that being the case, you've got to know when something doesn't feel good. Have a backup plan. Start developing your backup plan. Where you're going to go, who you're going to go with, what you're going to do, and leave that situation. Just do what you need to do. I mean, this thing where people are ignoring themselves and neglecting or denying themselves or rejecting themselves, that's got to come to an end, because that's driving people to suicide and all kinds of shit. So I don't want that. I don't want to see that. I don't want that for anybody. Because I have lived that frequency and it sucks. It's atrocious. I just don't want that for anybody, for real. So this, went about as long as I thought it would. I can't keep it short. I cannot keep my videos short. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I have too much to say. So that's it. That's the one I wanted to say. But I swear I haven't been doing coke. It's probably just dried snot. I'm sorry. Sorry. Mom always bugs me about that. My mommy tells me not to do drugs because I'm already weird. I haven't. I like my scotch here and there, and some wine depending on what I'm eating, but I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. So, but that's what I wanted to say. That's been coming up a lot lately. A lot. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I do want to start working on, I'm developing some ideas for my online course. If you're in my Facebook group, Reframing for Women, Reframing for Women with Anger, it's my Facebook group. If you're in that group, I asked in there today, what are some ideas y'all would like to see me apply to an online course? And that way, you could just buy the course and just watch the videos in your own time and refer to them whenever you want. If you need me to, I could even include a transcript or something, so you can have it in print if you ever wanted to. And so I've got some ideas in the works, but I just want to know for right now what everybody would like to see. So if you're in my group, you can do that. Or if you find me on Facebook, just message me, whatever. I'm always open to, what people need to hear and what they need to know. So I'll do my best, but that's what I want to say. And thank you for listening. And I hope that helped. And like I say, I'm always available if you want to talk or just figure something out. Just message me. I focus on women's issues, mostly anger, but also, anxiety, depression, some PTSD stuff too, because so don't be afraid to reach out. I'm always around. Unless it's the 5 hours a night that I'm asleep, then I'm not. Probably in a coma, but besides that, I'm almost always online talking to people, so don't be shy. Don't be afraid to talk. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to call it a day. But thank you for listening. Thank you.